In today's video, I'd like to talk about night vision goggles, or NVGs for short. We'll be going over the different types of night vision and why you might consider purchasing night vision goggles as part of your prepping or emergency preparedness. If you know absolutely nothing about NVGs, then this video will be a great starting point in educating yourself on the topic. I'll also be unboxing and talking about a specific set of NVGs I recently received. What's up, preppers? I'm the Community Prepper, and like always, thank you for watching my channel. Also, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, but only if you've gotten some good information from it. And please consider subscribing to my channel if you like videos about prepping, firearms, product reviews, and all other topics prepping related. Now, before we get started, let's get base level for many of those watching that might have never heard of night vision goggles or may have a novice idea of what they actually are. There are several different types of night vision technology. Now, that technology is then put into a device such as a goggle, camera, scopes for weapons, doorbell cameras, trail cameras, basically a plethora of other devices. Now, these several different types of technology allow an electronic sensor or an electronic processor in the device to brighten the image by different processes. The simplest term of what night vision does is it amplifies the brightness of an area or environment, enabling the user to see in the darkness. There are many different advanced night vision technologies on the market today, and I'll try to explain the differences ranging from consumer availability and affordability to the very expensive military grade goggles. So let's talk about a quick history of NVG technology. The first crude adaptation of night vision was invented in 1929 using an infrared sensitive electronic television camera for anti-aircraft defense in the UK. During World War II, the Germans used night vision on both tanks and rifles. The US was also developing their version of night vision, and US troops used a device called a sniper scope that used infrared light to illuminate targets. We'll talk more about that later. But it wasn't until the Vietnam War that night vision was used on a wide-scale level. Technology had advanced, and modern night vision that utilizes modern technology uses ambient light or the available light from sources like the moon or stars, and it amplified the light up to 1,000 times its brightness, allowing troops to basically see in the dark. Over the next several decades, different generations of night vision devices and technology advanced into brighter, sharper, higher resolution, and more portable devices. Today, our military-grade night vision renders darkness amazingly bright by combining several different of these technologies into one device. The combination of image intensification and thermal imaging, both which we'll talk about soon, are used in many of today's night vision devices. Now, I could go on and on for the rest of this video about the history and specific technologies of night vision, but this video is best served as a jump-off point for those of you who are interested or new to the basics of night vision technology. Next, quickly, let's talk about the three main types of night vision technology, and they vary greatly in many aspects. The different types of NVG technology are image intensification, active illumination, and thermal imaging. In military-grade NVGs, they blend some of these technologies into one unit that produce cutting-edge images that most civilians would probably never really be able to afford. Again, this is only a basic dive into the technology, so let's start with the most basic and probably the most common technology used in consumer-grade NVGs. The first one is called image intensification. Image intensification is a complex conversion of energy particles that occurs within a vacuum tube. I'm going to throw up a chart now on the screen that will demonstrate this process while I talk you through it. The process, in the simplest of terms, goes like this. First, an object lens collects photons of light. Second, a photocathode converts the photons into electrons. The third process is A microchannel plate increases the electrical energy of the electrons. Next, a phosphor screen converts the electrons back into photons. And lastly, an eyepiece lens or screen presents the image for viewing. This type of technology is considered passive illumination because this technology relies on available light that it intensifies until the darkness becomes visible. This technology is basically a low light camera that amplifies existing light in the environment. This technology is pretty decent in the fact that it will be very difficult for others to detect you, even if they're using NVGs of their own. I'll touch more on this later when I discuss what's called active illumination. The second type of technology is, you guessed it, active illumination. Active illumination night vision is a technology that uses infrared light to illuminate objects in the dark. In these devices, the device itself emits its own infrared source to illuminate the scene. Think of the device as having a very powerful infrared beam, sort of like a flashlight, illuminating the area. However, infrared light is invisible to the human eye, but can be detected by infrared cameras. The camera captures the infrared light and it is then converted into a monochrome image that is displayed on a screen. Monochrome basically means black and white. Active illumination is different from passive illumination because it doesn't rely on ambient light or external light sources like the aforementioned image intensification relies. Active illumination creates its own UV light source. Now, one major downside of this technology is that you will look like a bonfire in the night if someone else is using active illumination NVGs. Unlike image intensification that uses ambient light, you are literally blasting out a UV light, easily alerting others using active illumination technology to your whereabouts. Next, we'll talk about thermal imaging. Thermal imaging technology relies on neither image intensification or active illumination, but rather detects and records heat emissions or heat signatures from various objects. It will clearly show a human signature in pure darkness. However, if the human or heat signature is obstructed by heavy foliage, glass, or water, their signature will be blocked. But the best advantage of thermal imaging is that it will work in complete darkness. It'll cut through fog and smoke and other obscuring elements. This technology is ideal for search and rescue and military applications. The one downside of thermal imaging is that it can be less effective identifying details and may have trouble distinguishing objects with similar heat temperatures. Finally, we're going to talk about blended technologies. The best night vision uses a blended version of different technologies to give the best results. Many of the high-end or military-grade NVGs use a combination of thermal imaging and image intensification, resulting in amazing image quality. This level of night vision is very expensive for the average consumer. On the low end, you might expect to pay around $3,000 for this blended technology. When using higher detailed image intensification and thermal imaging together, it would be difficult for a target to avoid detection because this technology utilizes brightness and heat signatures to identify its mark. Consumer level night vision goggles. Now let's get into what you and I can afford in a normal reality where we want the ability to see in the dark for something like hunting, hiking, search and rescue, or property surveillance, but also perhaps in an SHTF situation where you want to elude detection from nefarious groups or individuals. So today's video is brought to you by Akaso, a consumer level night vision goggle manufacturer. I'm not being paid to do this review, but the goggles were sent to me free of charge by Akaso, and I will be doing an unboxing, setup, demonstration, and I'll give you my honest review of their goggles. I have never used these goggles before, so you and I will be exploring them together for the first time. I will provide my unbiased review, and if I think these goggles would be a good purchase for the average prepper who wants to see in the dark. After the unboxing, I'll go over some of the technical details, the battery life expectancy, and the technology that these NVGs use. What I found interesting about reading up on Akaso's NVGs is the artificial intelligence process it uses to render full color images in darkness. We'll go through that one together, as utilizing AI in NVGs is a very new thing, and I'm excited to see how it works. So now I'd like to do the unboxing. We'll do a walk around, we'll kick the tires, so to speak, and see what's up, how it feels, how it operates, and some other factoids along the way. Let's open these suckers up. All right, so these are the Akaso. They're called the Seemor 200s. And let's see what we got. So I know it does come with the carrying case, nothing left in the box. Put that over here. So let's open these and see what's in it. First, we have the goggles. It does come with this looks like a neck strap. We have 2 batteries that it comes with, a cleaning cloth for the lenses, and we have the charging USB-C. It looks like it goes into a USB, and then the USB-C part does plug into there. And lastly, we do have the instruction manual. If you're watching this video, I'm gonna go over everything in the instruction manual. Let's first take a look at the goggles themselves. So what we have here in the front is actually 2 lenses. One lens. This one here is the actual lens that will project your image onto the LCD monitor inside of the unit. This is actually what emits your infrared beam in the IR setting to illuminate an area. Going back to the technologies, these utilize 2 different technologies. The first one is active illumination. The active illumination is the one with the infrared beam. Think of it as a giant flashlight shining out, illuminating the area, but infrared, once again, is not visible to the human eye, but it is visible to other infrared cameras. So if you got 2 people using the same technology trying to elude each other, you're gonna look like, you're shining flashlights at each other. This is the lens, and it is a manual focus, and you just need to twist the front until you see the focus come into the image come into focus on the screen. What we have up here is the buttons. That is the power button. We have a IR plus and an IR minus button. These buttons do 2 things. In the infrared mode, you can up the power of your infrared beam by pressing these buttons up and down. You can also use these buttons to zoom in and out. It does have a digital 16x zoom. Now, the more you zoom in on a digital zoom, it's just basically taking the pixels and making them bigger and bigger. So the quality does degrade fairly quickly. On the other side, you have your mode button. We'll go over that. Your menu button, we'll go over that. And your shot button. Shot button is when you want to either record or take a still picture. By default, when you turn these on, it will be in video mode. So if you want to change it to still photo mode, you'll have to go in the menu. We'll talk more about that later. Up here is a little, maybe little hot shoe for a microphone, perhaps. On the other side, we have right here is a tripod mount. I'm going to use these later using a tripod so we get the stillest images. Under here is your battery, and behind here will be your micro USB slot and your charging port. This is a USB-C. So I'll show you how to quickly install the batteries and the micro memory card. So it's basically 2 tabs you pull down. Opens up like that, and if you see right there, there is a metal connection, which I'm assuming the battery is going to line up with. So let's take one of these batteries out. And yes, right there is your metal connection, metal to metal. Only one way it can go in, like that. Fits in snug. We'll close that door back up. Now, the next thing we'll talk about is the micro memory card. Akaso did send me one. I did already unwrap it. It's one of these tiny little guys. Now, when you insert this, there is a side that has the words on it. The words are facing me, and it does go in this slot, and you just push it in with your fingernail. Sometimes it's a little tricky. There, I got it. And then to charge these, there's 2 ways you can charge it. The unit does come with just the batteries, comes with 2 batteries. And the way you charge it is you would just take your USB-C, plug it into there, and then this can plug into a regular USB slot. The other way you can charge it is you can separately purchase the battery chargers. It's just a tray that both batteries sit in, and you plug it into the wall or the computer. And that's pretty much everything on the outside of the unit. Now let's go over the functions and how to power it on. All right, so now we're going to go over every button on the front. We'll start with the power button. So what you want to do is hold it 2 seconds to power it on. That'll bring you into the screen where it'll show the name of the brand, the Akaso Seemor 200. Underneath the power, we have the IR plus and the IR minus. Now these have multiple functions. When you are in the menu mode, you can toggle up and down using the plus and minus keys to go up and down on the menu. When you are on the menu item that you want to select, you hit the shot button. That will also do your recording start and stop or take a picture depending on what mode you're on in the menu. We'll get to that. Menu obviously is the menu button. You click that once, you toggle up and down in the menu. Once you find what you want to select, you hit the shot button. The other one is the mode. Now the mode is done when you are shooting or videoing or taking nighttime video. So whatever mode you're in, we'll say we're in the IR mode in video. You're gonna hit shot to start, and you'll see that the counter on your video will start counting. Now the mode button is going to let you select between the active illumination and the infrared mode. Now there is 2 modes in in passive illumination, which is the ambient light. You're gonna hold down the mode button and you'll see that it's either black and white or color. Now, if you hold it down again, it will switch from color to black and white or black and white to color. Now, to turn on the infrared beam, you have to be in the black and white mode. And what you want to do is double press the plus and the minus, and then that sends out the beam that you can also address by pushing the plus and the minus. Now, if you just touch the plus or the minus, it'll zoom in or out. If you hold down the plus or minus for about 2 seconds, that's where it will intensify the beam. So remember, intensifying the beam, hold down for 2 seconds, release. Hold down for 2 seconds, release, and it'll step up the power of your infrared beam. To get back into the other mode, the color or the black and white mode without the infrared sensor, you're gonna hit mode again. All right, so that's the explanation of all the buttons on the front. We're gonna quickly go through the menu to help you get set up. I'm gonna go through this as quick as I can, because it's a little bit tedious and boring, but you're gonna wanna at least do this to set it up and familiarize yourself with it. All right, I'm gonna refer to the notes here as I walk you through it. So your first item on the menu screen will be the album. So if you're in album and you hit shot, that will help you, or that'll allow you to open up the album to view prior recordings you have. If you don't have anything on the card, there won't be any there. It'll let you play it back so that you can view it in the sensor. The second one down will be video resolution. You have between high resolution and low resolution. I'm shooting everything in 4K for optimum resolution. However, that will eat up more of your memory card. The third thing down on the menu is the capture duration. You have your option of 1 minute, 2 minute, or 3 minute default. Now that means if you have this on a tripod and you hit record, it'll record for 1 minute and then start over to record for 1 minute continuously until the memory card is out. You can do that for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Number 4 is loop video overriding. What that means is once you have this and you've been recording for several hours and it runs out of memory card space, it'll start to record over your oldest file or the first one you recorded. You can turn that on and off if you just want to set this outside, record it for 4 hours or whatever your card will take, and then when it's done, it'll stop or it'll start recording over the earliest or the first video that you took. Number 5 is Wi-Fi hotspot. You're gonna need to turn that on if you wanna connect your unit to your Bluetooth on your phone to use the app. Number 6 is the audio feature. You do have the option to record and also talk or listen to the sounds that are in the environment. By default, it's off. You have to use this menu to turn it on so that you record video and you will pick up sound as well. Number 7 is brightness. Now that is the brightness of your screen inside. You have low, medium, and high. By default, I believe it was on medium. Now, if you want the least detection, if other people are using NVGs, you want to put it on low. You also want to view it with your eyes as close to the screen so there's no light spill, because any light on you is going to look very bright with someone else using NVGs. Number 8 is the indicator light. Now, when this unit is on and it is dark and you are trying to fumble and bumble with all of these buttons on top, you do have the option to have them illuminated or to stay dark while you're using the unit. So if I do touch this, you can see it all does light up green. Number 9 is screen time. Again, that's how long your LCD screen is going to stay on. You have the option of never, which is by default, it'll never go off, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Now again, if you're putting this on a tripod to just record a scene, you're going to want to turn that off as quickly as possible to save battery life, so maybe put it on the 5 minute and then it'll automatically go off while it's still recording. Number 10 is the volume. That is just the volume of the buttons. When you press them, you'll hear the beep beep. You can turn it to off, low, or medium. Number 12 is this does have a compass feature. You can turn that on if you want to show in your display what direction you are pointing, northeast, west, south. Number 13 is level. Now there's an indicator on here to show if your goggles will be level. So if they're pointed up or down, the level button will not work. It'll tell you for some reason if you need this, if it is on level with the horizon. Number 14 is system language. Choose the language that you speak because it would be hard to understand or read another language. Number 15 is system time. That is where you can select the time and date. So if you want to code stamp something on your videos with what time the little critter ran through your backyard or what time you encountered the marauders when you were sacked and pillaged in your camp. Number 16 is format. That formats the memory card. It does a complete wipe of everything on there. Again, when you do have a new unit or a new memory card, you're going to want to format it first. 17 is reset. You can reset the night vision goggles to the basic out-of-the-box default settings. Number 18 is your date format. Now that doesn't format the date. What it does is you could choose if you want day, month, year, month, date, or day, month, date, year, whatever I didn't say. Number 19 is about. That just tells you the manufacturer and I believe the year it was made or manufactured your unit. When we go outside, I'm going to go over all of the operations so you can see specifically the two modes, the active illumination and the passive illumination, and the use of the infrared beam in the infrared mode. A little bit about the beam. Now, I did research it, and it does say that the beam is quite powerful, and from 100 to 300 meters, you should be able to see. That's about 1 to 3 football fields for you in the States. We'll also do some quick examples of what my normal eyes see with the help of my iPhone camera versus what the NVGs pick up. I also did go to the spot that we're going to shoot earlier today to film it in daylight to give you some points of reference. Okay, this is what I will be filming tonight from this exact location. A nice little pond here. Just for reference, that bridge is about 100 feet away. The other side of the pond is probably about 100 yards away. And those mountains over there are miles in the distance. So I'm gonna see what the the night vision goggles will pick up when zooming in on that bridge, zooming in on the other side of the pond, maybe those houses, and then we'll try it in the different modes to see how far off that infrared beam will reach, and to see the difference between the infrared and the using the ambient light only technology. All right, this is what I see with the naked eye. I'm in that same place above the pond where I did the recording earlier, and this is what the night vision goggles see. That's pretty darn good, considering right there is the bridge. So I'm just gonna pan around, and right now I am in the color mode. If I wanted to switch from color mode to the infrared mode, I would hold down the mode button, and then there it is in the monochrome setting. So it's pretty darn clear compared to not being able to even see that bridge with the naked eye or my cell phone. So let's do some panning in both of the modes with the monochrome, the color AI setting and the active illumination where it will set out a beam, the infrared beam that is invisible to the naked eye. So let's switch back to the color mode. There we go. And I'm gonna just move it up a little bit to show you the other side of the lake and the houses. One thing I didn't mention earlier was the view of this is very limited because it is somewhat zoomed in. Now that's on no zoom. Let's see how it zooms in and how much it breaks up. Yeah, after about, what is that, 8x zoom, it's almost useless. But again, those are the houses across the way that, with the naked eye, are those houses right there compared to what you see with the infrared. Let me sharpen that focus up a little bit. So I'm manually doing the focus. That's pretty good. And then again, those mountains in the distance are those right there up top. And with naked eye or my cell phone camera, those mountains are way up there. You can't even see them with the naked eye. All right, so let's play around with the other mode. Let's put it back into the black and white mode. And then we'll point it back at that bridge right there. And then next, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn on the infrared beam by holding these two buttons. So let's see what that looks like. Ready? Here we go. And that's with the infrared beam on. Now that is much brighter. That is amazing how far that can see and how sharp it is. Let's go across the lake. Oh my gosh. That's a lot better than I thought it would be. So that's about 100, 110 yards away to that point. And then the house over there is about the same distance. I mean, that is really exceptional, the brightness with that infrared beam. Now I'm gonna power the infrared beam up, and now let's push that beam as high as it'll go. Wow, all right, that's the brightest setting there. That is really bright. Let's go back to that little bridge down there, and that is pretty darn good. I mean, I'll definitely take that. Now again, remember, in the active illumination setting, that beam is not visible to the naked eye. But if you were trying to travel by stealth and someone else had night vision goggles like these, then that beam would show your location very easily. Just think of it again as a very powerful flashlight shining from your unit. Let's even pan a little bit more and see how it looks in the rest of the neighborhood. So that's down the street. Sorry about the awkwardness. I'm trying to move the tripod with the cell phone, viewing it. Wow, that's actually pretty darn good. That's all the way across the lake. That is over 100 yards away. Let me know what you guys think. Let me zoom in one more time with that. See if I can. Oh, it just powers it up. Let me see. Zoom in. Wow. So that tree right there is about 150 yards away. You could easily see if somebody was by that tree. Let's just do a whole panning around to what's behind me and the other houses. So, wow. So you can clearly see that deck on the house. And if I were to bring the camera up, that's what you're seeing where that little faint red light is right there. Right there. It's not really focusing on the camera, but I mean, that's pretty amazing. That's very sharp. I'm very happy with these. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Almost looks like there's somebody sitting back there. No, it's not. Let me know what you guys think. Are these good for you? Would they suffice with your needs that you would want out of a infrared camera? Let me zoom back out. Oops, wrong way. All right, so that's as far as, wow. Again, that house there with that car, that's almost 200 yards away. So this beam definitely does light up the environment. Okay, that's it for the practical demonstration. Now again, these lights will light up, and I'm just going to hold down the power button for 2 seconds to power it off. And there it goes. Boom. So there you have it. NVGs can be a tool to keep in your prepping toolbox for any number of reasons. For us preppers, it might be a good idea to have this at your disposal if you are out and about in a situation where traveling by stealth or seeing potential threats at night are of concern. Also, they're a pretty cool tool or a piece of gear to have sitting around just to play with, because us preppers are usually gearheads. And to reiterate, these goggles are very budget friendly, but still get the job done. Having something is definitely better than having nothing at all. So I would definitely recommend these goggles to all of my viewers, and they definitely are a cheaper alternative to their expensive counterparts that for many of us are completely unaffordable and unattainable and may not warrant us dedicating a chunk of our cash or budget for our prepping needs. I will link the goggles in the description below. If you use that link, it helps fund this channel and allows me to make more videos like this. Thank you for watching until the end, and refuse to be a victim.